You have to think your own thoughts to live your own life. Simple as that.
You know, and initially when you begin doing that, you're going to fill out a step. You will. I mean, I did. And I know that in talking to Linda, he did. And when listening to Neville, he did. Because what we're doing is stepping outside the cadence of those around us. You know, and the problem is because we've gotten so accustomed and also comfortable with doing what everyone else is doing. But if you truly want to begin to experience a transformed life, then begin listening to the still small voice in the quiet time. As you think about the things that you've listened to, and you begin to meditate, and your own voice will come forth. It will. It must. It absolutely will. It's going to be your unique voice. And even if you're repeating verbatim something that Neville said, for example, it's going to come across in your voice because you're going to own it. And it's as we begin owning, when it becomes real for us, then it comes out in our voice. And it becomes uniquely ours. There were some things that I know that Neville had quoted from other people. But when I listened to him, to me, it was Neville's words. When I hear Lindo speaking Neville's words, I hear Lindo because it's his own unique twist on what it is that he's heard and that he's found agreement with.
That's what it is. Everyone fends for themselves first. That's it. You either do it for yourself first, or you can't do it for anyone else. It's just that simple. And all you're doing is that you're just relating to them what was related to you. This is not about figuring anything out. You don't figure it out. I mean, you just don't. It's all revelation. And it tells you very plainly in Scripture, it's all revelation. You don't figure it out. Look for the revelations. They're there. They're with you. You're having them. I tell you, you are having revelations. Whether you're religious or not religious, you're still having revelations. After all, religious is man's idea anyway.
And speaking of the revelations, when they come to you, you say, man, that's interesting. I wonder where that thought came from. You let the thought go, and you won't give any more attention to it. But at that moment, you were having a revelation, and it was that thing that you had, that thought that it became yours, and it was something that was so outside of what you knew. You said, well, that couldn't be me. Write it down.
Aha moment.
Aha moments. Eureka. Write them down.
That's it.
And then begin rehearsing them. Talk about them in your own voice, in your silence. Explain to yourself, tell yourself what that means to you. Really begin talking. And then what's going to happen is you're going to start incorporating your unique voice in your conversations with your friends. And many of them, they're going to like, where did that come from? And it's just going to, but the more you do it, the more you'll get.
That's it. All things produce after their own kind.
Yeah.
That's it. So if that's the kind you're thinking, that's the kind you'll be experiencing. If you're thinking nonsense, look out. Because it's all answered.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had, speaking of just the power of thoughts, even in the simple things, don't even take the simple things for granted. After 3 o'clock or whatever, one of the granddaughters come home and we start doing homework. And one of the things that I wanted was a pencil sharpener. Now, I could have just went online, and I actually did go online, but I sensed in my spirit that I was going to come across a pencil sharpener, electric one where you plug in, because they got the little cheap ones, but they really don't work as well. And so I went into a store today, a secondhand store. Lo and behold, got to one of the counters where the electronics was, and there was a pencil sharpener there. Now, I'll say this. Maybe there were 500 pencil sharpeners there before, but I didn't need them then, so I couldn't see them. Only thing I'm asking you to do as a creator is begin thinking upon the thing that you want to manifest in your life. Think from I knew that I had a pencil sharpener. Now, how it was going to manifest itself, I had no idea. Know that the thing that you want, whether it be wealth, better health, a new relationship, begin thinking from that place. See yourself as already being the kind of person that attracts ideal relationships, ideal health, more money, whatever.
That's it. It's the pencil sharpener. That's it.
Absolutely.
It's all just that simple. And they don't and it isn't defined enough. In other words, it's just as easy to move a mountain as it is a rock.
Absolutely.
You have the mindset for it. Like a guy said, well, how about $1 million? Okay. If you want to set and make a mindset for it, you'll have it.
Absolutely.
But the idea seems to just kind of dissipate somewhere because they give it up.
Well, they think because most of us believe because of how we've been taught, and especially Secret was a great movie. The problem with The Secret is that many of us think that we just think a thought, and immediately out of nowhere, this thing is manifested. Neville called that a bridge of incident. Things happen. When you begin thinking the thought, all of a sudden you come across the person that needs the service that you're offering, or you get an introduction to somebody that says, man, I was looking for exactly what you have to offer. And because it happens so naturally, we say it was going to happen anyway. Not so. If you did not give it, the pencil sharpener would not have been there for me if I did not have in consciousness the belief of a pencil sharpener.
Right.
I knew that a pencil sharpener was going to manifest itself. I just didn't know how. You have to know that the thing that you're trying to manifest, you just have to know.
Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, you're right. You don't have to know how. That's not
absolutely. That's not your business.
That's God's business. You're here to choose this day, not to make it so, because the thought is the thing itself. And if you're focused on the thought, you'll get it. He tells you, he doesn't say try. He says do a thing, and you shall have the power. Try. I used that for years. Well, I tried. But that it doesn't say try. It says do it. And you just keep doing it. Someone says, well, but I don't have a good imagination. Well, there's only a good imagination. There is no bad imagination. That's man using it improperly.
Even with that, it's a good imagination. Even if we're using it improperly, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Right. That's right. And, well, what does it say? All things are pure to the pure at heart. That would be God, and that's who you want to see it that way. Someone says, well, God makes the final decision on what happens to you. I go, well, who else would you want to make it? If man made it, he'd throw you in a dungeon.
Absolutely. As
a matter of fact, you'd probably march in there yourself. Well, we're told to bring heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're told to do it by God, then that must mean you can do it.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you focus on that instead of your sore toe?
And I want to put a spin on something, because you were talking about imagination and it being the essence of what it is that we're manifesting. Scripture says that faith is the substance of things hoped for. Faith. Change the word from faith to imagination. Imagination is the substance of things hoped for. Imagination is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So it's the imagination that brings about screws and bolts and nuts and the things that we take for granted. Somebody created that in their imagination first. Yeah.
That's it. You're responsible for everything. I thought I had enough responsibility. Then you come along and give me another pack of it. But actually, what I'm telling you relieves you. It is relief. And what is better felt than relief? Nothing. And that's what this is being offered to you. It's what was offered to me. It's what is offered to everyone. But you must claim it. See, that's where they all fall down. You're not claiming it. If you insist that you have it, that's a decree, and as you decree a thing, it shall be so. We're just not serious about what we're saying to ourselves. The subconscious mind does not question what model you're sending to it. It takes what you think and what you feel and makes your world accordingly. And if it's not lovely and of good report, well, keep your mouth shut.
Absolutely. Subconscious mind says, your wish is my command.
That's it. And that's what we all start off with, wishing. But wishing is not really firm enough. You have to actually arrive on the scene. You see, you have to show up as what you wish to be. You are.
It goes back to states. If you can't hold in consciousness the thing that you desire, you're not going to manifest it. And that's what Jesus was talking about when he says, to him who has, more shall be given. But to him who has not, even that which he thinks he has or appears to have will be taken from him. If you can't hold in consciousness good health, if you can't hold in consciousness abundance, if you can't hold in consciousness that ideal relationship, then you're not going to manifest it in your reality. It's impossible.
Oh, that's right. That's right. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, so does he. If you can't think about it, you can't have it.
Absolutely.
That's just it. And that's why it tells you to think only on things that are lovely and of good report, because whatever it is you want, I'm hoping that it's lovely and of good report, because that's what you'll get. As you think you are. That sounds pretty simple to me. Everybody's always telling me, can you make it simple? What?
Can't get any more simpler than that. As you think you are.
As a man thinks he is. And then you're told, change your mind, change your world. That I didn't hear there's no parameters on what you can do. Because it said, whatsoever. And that's not a slang word, whatsoever. It actually says, whatsoever. Choose these things to think upon. We're just lazy-minded, that's all.
Absolutely.
I still have bouts with it.
Absolutely. Well, Linda, we're at that hour mark, so I wanted to let you know. And since we are at the hour mark and we're about ready to wind down, Linda and I are working at getting online and being able to do some face-to-faces with you guys. I've got a website that we have. It's basically after Linda's story. It's called the Metaphysical Art Theater, and that's on Facebook. So begin to just plug in, and we'll start posting talks and conversations, but we'll also have live talks where you can actually plug into. Linda's working very hard right now to get online. That's not something that he's done for many years, and so he's making a transition because he knows that it's important that we continue to have these talks, because we know that lives are being impacted and changed, and that's our desire. Listen, for you guys, go out there and join the Facebook group, the Metaphysical Art Theater. We want to be, as it were, drink offerings being poured out for you.
The Metaphysical Art Theater, theater of the mind of imagination, where we do our work. You're given life to direct. You're given a mind. The fact that you're given, choose wisely.
Well, my friend, it's been a pleasure.
Well, it's always a pleasure. It really is. Anytime the word's being spread, it's joyful.
Again, my family's grieving for Kobe, and I know other people's are grieving for Kobe's family. But what I thought about in this whole thing with the situation with Kobe was my own life. I said, I really want to be on purpose. And I love what I'm doing. When Linda and I are speaking, sometimes, I'll break away from what I'm doing in the day and give him a call, because I love our conversation, and I love that there's like-minded people out there that are sharing these truths. That's why we want you guys to be a part of our Facebook group and begin sharing the things that you know. And as Scripture says, iron sharpening iron. When I began talking to Linda about 2 years plus ago, it was so refreshing because I heard Neville. You start wondering to yourself, am I the only one that thinks this way? Am I insane? I mean, because most of the people that you know, they're going to traditional church, and you're hearing things that just really don't agree with your spirit, and it's refreshing to have these conversations. Become a part of the conversation with us. We'll enjoy having you and just see what the divine is doing with us collectively.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Absolutely. So, listen, we'll sign off here, and we'll be talking shortly.
Okay.
All right, sir. Take care.